Yes, it's John G. Sutton. Tales from the Jail. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a certain period of time, Christmas at the Scrubs. You've all heard the old song, "It was Christmas Day in the workhouse." Well, it was Christmas at the Scrubs, and for a period of time I was working in the census office at the Scrubs. It's hard to believe now looking back on it, but I hadn't been there very long. I'd been there since May, in May, June of 1975, and I was put to work in the census office during the Christmas rush because they had thousands and thousands of cards and letters in. Now, if you've ever been in prison, the one thing that you do really look forward to is receiving a card or letters from your loved ones. Seriously. But that's not quite what happened at the Scrubs. Now, I wasn't in charge of the census office, I was just one of the staff. And what you do is when the cards and letters come in, you open them up, scan through the letters to make sure that there's nothing diabolical in there, like we're going to break down the wall on Friday night, get ready, make sure there's none of that in there, make sure there's no drugs or anything or money, whatever it is, tobacco and all that, make sure that that's not going in, and then you put it back in the envelope. yeah, and it goes out. It goes to the inmate, via their wing, and the officers on the landing, they distribute the mail. But come Christmas time, there's thousands of it, absolutely stacked up. So we were doing our best to get through all these, and it got to the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve. And it's diabolical when I think about what this guy did. I'm ashamed to be a part of it, but at the time I was only a very junior officer. I'd only been there a few months. I couldn't really do anything about it. We were stacked up. I think there were about 3 sackfuls of mail, and we just, no matter how hard we tried, we weren't making a great deal of headway. So this guy says, "You lot go out and get yourself an early lunch, yeah? Come back here at 1:30, said, and we'll tidy all this lot up." I said, "Well, we're not likely to do that, since we're only managing to do like a full sack of mail every 4 or 5 hours. It's taking us that long." He said, "It won't take us that long when I've finished." What he did, this is diabolical, what he did, he got a flat-bedded truck, yeah? And he dumped the sacks of mail into the truck, and he dragged it round to the incinerator at the back of B Wing, and he burnt the lot. So if you've been in prison, you can understand how diabolical that was, because you'd be waiting for your mail, waiting for your Christmas card from your loved ones, and this guy just went and burnt the lot, sacks, everything, in the incinerator. As I said, there was very little I could do. Complain about him. Dangerous game. Dangerous. I eventually did decide that I couldn't continue accepting this kind of nonsense, and I did make various observations to the powers that be, and it didn't actually work out like you would expect it would, because they just turned on me then. Yeah, I'm the bad guy, not the people who are doing all this nonsense, like the vicar who's going round getting the young inmates to suck his todger. No, I'm not supposed to notice that. I'm supposed to turn a blind eye. Anyway, as I said, it was Christmas at the Scrubs, and I'd been put in charge of organising the Christmas dinner. Well, obviously I didn't cook it, but it was going to be served, yeah? Had to be served Christmas dinner. So I got the hot plates, just big hot plate in the middle of C Wing, inside what had been cells knocked out. They got the hot plate in there. And so we had to organise that. So I got all the inmates who were working regularly on the hot plates ready to serve all the dinners and set the coffee stall up, you know, because they had coffee. They didn't have coffee usually. Coffee special on Christmas Day, and they got half a pint of coffee. So it's Christmas Day in the workhouse, or the scrubs, yeah, and everybody's coming down for dinner, and I'd organised a group to sing Christmas carols, you know, as the inmates came down, and they'd put a tree up, you know, they made it, I mean, it was obviously difficult for the inmates. They were there without their loved ones, you know, their wife and family and children at home probably. So to relieve the tension, I thought we'd have a bit of fun, you know. We got a tree, it might have been a conifer or something like that. It was something and nothing, but they hang decorations on there, bit of paper, stuff like that. And I got these three big black guys, you know. I said, listen, do you want to laugh? Yeah, Christmas Day. I said, what is it? I said, well, I'm getting a choir together, yeah. I specifically would like you three guys, because you've got really good voices, you know. I said, I'd like you to sing as people come down for their dinners. You're standing by the Christmas tree singing. I said, it's a good idea, that. I said, you know, do it like a Motown kind of style. So they said, well, what are we going to sing? So I thought that it would be hilarious to get three 6'2" black guys, you know, with the sleeves rolled up, singing, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Seriously. I said that, hey, they thought it was hilarious. They did it, you know. The problem was it kind of didn't amuse some inmates. And there was one inmate that it definitely didn't amuse. He was a great big Irishman, and he came down for his coffee, yeah, and he got at standard half pint of coffee, and he starts shouting, "You give me a full." He wanted a full cup of coffee. Well, if he'd done that, there wouldn't have been enough coffee to go round. You know, there was enough coffee to give everybody half a pint, yeah, of this coffee. So we tried to reason with him, but no sooner did we start to reason with him than he reached out and grabbed hold of the inmate that was pouring the coffee, donked him one, knocked him sparko, yeah, and well, he was a big guy. So what were we going to do? It's Christmas Day in the workhouse. Go for it, yeah. So we grabbed him and ran him along the landing, bodily off the floor. And this guy was about 17 stone. He was not easy to do this, but we lifted him up and ran him, I think there were three of us, ran him down the landing and into one of the empty cells. We always kept a couple of empty cells, you know, so that if there anybody did kick off, we had somewhere to throw them. So we got him in the empty cell. I held him down on the floor by his head, yeah? I held his head on the floor. If you get somebody by the head, yeah, and hold them very still, it's difficult for them to move, you see. Especially as I was on his chest as well. And I wasn't exactly a little fella, you know, I was about 15 stone myself. So he stayed on the floor while they took his clothes off. And of course, he has to be left alone, because if you do leave the clothes on, they can hang themselves. Because distressed, you know, they've just kicked off, you know. So anyway, he's in the cell, and the senior officer who was in charge of it, the principal officer, at the door, said, right, everybody out, Mr. Sutton, when I tell you, let him go, yeah? So I said, all right, yeah. So everybody else gets out the cell, just me holding his head on his body like that, holding him down. He said, right, let him go. So I let him go, stood up and tried to get to the door. But I got within about 2 foot of the door, just 12 foot, not very far away, but this guy was up. And he ran straight at me. He got to about that far away from me, here, yeah. And suddenly, Almost as if by accident, our heads collided, and he went flipped back and skid across the floor till he hit the back wall. The principal officer said, "In all my years," he says, "I have never seen anything like that." Boof! Yeah, and off he went. I tell you, he could have hurt me. It was me head. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this Tales from the Jails. This is John G. Sutton. I hope you've subscribed. It helps, apparently. Speak soon. Book early.